Good Monday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We are with you guys the full week. I know for many of you, you may be off part of the week because of the holiday, but we will be with you here Monday through Friday. For today, we of course have your news headlines coming up. We also have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and today in an Entertainment Spotlight, you've been part of my conversation with comedian and actor Andy Goldenberg. Enjoy today's program. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Monday headlines. In national news, former Mississippi Governor William Winter dies at 97. Former Mississippi Governor William Winter, known for pushing to improve public education and U.S. race relations, died on Friday evening. His family announced he was 97 years old. Family spokesman Dick Malpass, Mississippi's former Democratic Secretary of State, who also worked on Winter's staff, said in a statement that Winter died at his home on Friday, the Associated Press is reporting. The statement did not mention a cause of death. Winter served as governor of Mississippi from 1980 to 1984 and helped Mississippi lawmakers pass the Education Reform Act of 1982, which aimed to set quality schooling standards and access to public early education in the state. In the 1990s, Winter served as co-chairman of a national commission on racial reconciliation created by former President Bill Clinton. Winter's career was chronicled in the Emmy Award-winning documentary film The Toughest Job, William Winter's Mississippi. In more national news, the Mississippi State Department of Health reports 2,222 new COVID-19 cases in Mississippi and 19 additional deaths on Sunday. There have now been 194,333 COVID-19 cases in Mississippi and 4,409 coronavirus-related deaths in the state since March. In more national news, Biden to receive COVID-19 vaccine as Trump remains on sideline. The leader of the Trump administration's vaccination program says people who have been infected with coronavirus, a group that includes President Donald Trump, should be vaccinated. The chief advisor of Operation Warp Speed told CNN State of the Union on Sunday that the vaccine is safe for those who have recovered and offers stronger and potential longer protection than does the virus itself. We know that infection doesn't induce a very strong immune response and it wanes over time. So I think as a clear precaution, it is appropriate to be vaccinated because it's safe, he said. I think people should be vaccinated indeed. Trump has not received the first of two vaccination shots, which began being administered last week as part of the largest vaccination campaign in the nation's history. Vice President Mike Pence, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell all were given doses on Friday. President-elect Joe Biden will receive his today. All have chosen to publicize their injections as part of a campaign to convince a skeptical public that the vaccines are safe and effective in hopes of finally putting an end to a pandemic that has killed more than 310,000 people in the United States and upended life around the globe. In more national news, Biden's team vows action against hack as U.S. threats persist. Once in office, President-elect Joe Biden will punish Russia for a suspected cyber espionage operation against the United States with financial sanctions and measures to hobble the Kremlin's ability to launch future hacks, his chief of staff said on Sunday as a GOP senator criticized President Donald Trump for having a blind spot when it comes to Moscow. Those who are responsible are going to face consequences for it, said Biden Chief of Staff Ron Klain. It's not just sanctions, it's also steps that we could do to degrade the capability of foreign actors to repeat the sort of tact or worse still, engage in even more dangerous attacks. Cybersecurity experts and U.S. officials such as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo have been clear over the past week that they believe Russia was behind the massive hack that infiltrated over 40 federal agencies, including the Department of Treasury, Energy and Commerce, as well as government contractors. On Sunday, Senator Mitt Romney blasted Trump for putting the U.S. at continued risk. In business news, U.S. airport traffic rising despite holiday travel warnings. More than 1 million people have passed through U.S. airport security checkpoints in each of the past 2 days, in a sign that public health pleas to avoid holiday travel are being ignored despite an alarming surge in COVID-19 cases. It marks the first time U.S. airports have screened more than 1 million passengers since November 29th. That came at the end of the Thanksgiving weekend that saw far more travel around the country than had been hoped as the weather turned colder and COVID-19 cases were already spiking. And finally, in entertainment news, Wonder Woman 1984 grabs $39 million overseas. The superhero sequel, Wonder Woman 1984, has earned an estimated $39 million in ticket sales from international theaters, Warner Brothers said on Sunday. The film started its rollout abroad last week, opening in 32 markets, including China, and playing on upwards of 30,000 screens. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Allow yourself the freedom to change your mind. Always allow yourself the freedom to change your mind. You must respect the rights of others who may be affected by your decision. When your needs are at odds with another's, you may need to address a compromise. Conflict resolution is important in any relationship and is not hindered by indecision. Think carefully about what you wish to achieve in the long run. Is your decision or compromise in accordance with your ultimate goal? When you feel good in your knowings about the choice you have made, you know it is the correct choice, compromise, decision, or etc. Today, allow yourself the freedom to change your mind. And remember, enjoy your day.
As I mentioned, today's Entertainment Spotlight features comedian and actor Andy Goldenberg. Enjoy right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Comedian and actor Andy Goldenberg joined me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about the year that's been 2020 and his new movie, Love, Weddings, and Other Disasters. Here's a bit of our conversation. Let's kind of talk about this journey for you, Andy. I mean, as you kind of reflect on, of course, you're wrapping up on a high note with this film, but what has it been like for you to reflect on this year and what you've been able to do?
You know, it's interesting. We're living during one of the worst periods of our modern human history in some respects. And I've been very fortunate through the pandemic because I gave birth. I didn't give birth. My wife gave birth to our first son. And at no other point in my modern history would I have been able to stay home with my wife and sort of bond with our kid for as long as we've been able to do. And, you know, it's been sort of this, in a weird way, this nice, sheltered, we stay at home and we just hang out with our child. So in a way, that's been in an interesting year, you know, when we talk about how just the world as a whole is in this weird place, and we're sort of insulated in our house, sort of taking care of him in this shelter. But other than that, you know, it's also interesting because I finally have this lead role in a big movie, which is definitely the biggest role to date of my career, which has spanned since I was a child, acting. So in many ways, the year is an interesting combination for me.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back with you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host Cyrus Webb saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.